Niners by 7.5. It's Sunday at 4:05. Niners moved to 2-2 last week after defeating the Patriots. Cardinals fall to 1-3. Fell to 1-3.
I've said this a few times that I think truly transcendent quarterbacks reach a stage where you're like, I don't know what the game plan is against this guy. A lot of quarterbacks that are really good, you might fail to beat them doing it, but you at least understand what the plan of attack should be to go after them. I'm not saying Brock Purdy is that, but I do think that he's actually found himself into that sort of category of I don't know what you should do to attack Brock Purdy. Like, he's not a truly transcendent quarterback.
Whatever Minnesota did.
Yeah, but run the Brian
luck.
Flores defense,
Good
right?
luck.
Absent having Brian Flores on staff, what is the plan supposed to be? Because normally you would be like, okay, young quarterback who's clearly being aided by Shanahan's offense, and okay, he's been missing some of his superstar Avengers in terms of offensive weaponry, but he still had guys like Jennings, and it's not like they've got no talent, even with Christian McCaffrey dealing without any Achilles or whatever malady is affecting both of his legs now. They've still had good players. Normally you would say, blitz that guy, get him moving, get him outside the pocket, doing all those kinds of things, make him rush, hurry his process. But that's where he does all of his best work at the moment. So it's like and last week, they got him moving a ton, and every time they did, he was making a play. It's like, but equally sitting back and just letting him carve you up from the pocket with a Shanahan offense at the helm doesn't feel like a good plan either. So what is the approach now to stopping Brock Purdy in the 49ers attack?
Brian Flores defense, perhaps. I mean, I'm kind of with you. You just called Brock Purdy transcendent and
No, I didn't.
Impossible to stop.
This is false captioning that you're against.
Oh, shoot. Yeah, you're right. It is deceptive captioning. I should not do that. I tweeted out this week, Brock Purdy, I think, has become underrated now. I thought there was a point last season where he started playing better. And then you combine that with the fact that
not just a point. I mean, quietly he's improved, almost like that idea of, young players. We all think that young players, the arrow just goes steadily upwards, right? They just get better and better and better. Time equals larger improvement, right? And it's just this steady arrow upwards. And it's almost never the case. It's much more bumpy than that. It looks more like those the candles, for financing. You see the green or the red candle, or it jumps and it's herky jerky, right? It's much more like that normally, where it goes up or down. And it's like a stock market. Purdy, though, actually has just gotten consistently better, incrementally, slowly, step by step, steadily, but has improved all the way through his entire career, right? So whilst we've spent, multiple years now, everybody debating just how good is Brock Purdy, it hasn't been a stat. Every week it's been a different answer. It's a moving thing, and it's been consistently, he's been getting better all the way.
I agree. I mean, I think the old conversations about is it Brock Purdy, is it Kyle Shanahan, were still fair questions. Like, we watched the game, Sam. There were times where it was 3rd and 15. He threw a screen to Deebo Samuel, who picked up 20, right? It was a yak-heavy offense where early in Purdy's career, when he took over in 22 and early in 23, it was like, okay, we just saw Jimmy Garoppolo, who could barely hold a job, put up ridiculous numbers in the system with these playmakers. Brock Purdy's made it better. Add a little bit of scrambling, add a little bit of scramble drill to it, a little bit of out-of-structure play, and he's elevated it. But it's an offense that has a history of making QBs look great statistically. But now, I think Purdy has gotten better and continued to improve. And to your point, I think they have more answers. Stylistically, just some numbers behind it. Purdy's first year average depth of target was 7, right? Because there was he's yak king, right? This is all Shanahan. It went up to 8.6 last year. This year, it's the 3rd highest average depth of target in the league at 11. And last week, it was close to 15 against New England, where he just kept chucking it down the field. His big-time throws are up. His turnover-worthy plays are down. He's scrambling more. His average time to throw is up 0.6 seconds, which is usually a bad thing. But for Purdy, it's an extend the play type of thing this year that's still working for him. So my point in all of this is I think the great quarterbacks have won different ways stylistically. right? Tom Brady had years where he was throwing the ball more underneath and it was more yak-centric offense. He won an MVP throwing the ball down the field as much as anyone else in 2017. We've seen Mahomes evolve his game, right? He's been an incredible downfield threat, out of pocket, superstar, and he's been a within the system, underneath passing type of quarterback and won that way as well. And Purdy's maybe getting to that point where he's able to win in a whole bunch of different ways. So he spent a lot of time giving Brock Purdy a lot of credit, and he's done it this year. I mean, they're a second half collapse against the Rams away from just being 3-1, where the only blip was he ran into Brian Flores, who seems to have great answers for this defense, for this offense.
Yeah.
So I think the Niners are still a potentially great team. They've battled their injuries. When they're all back and healthy, I think they could be even better than they were previously because the way Purdy's playing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think we said this towards the end of last season as well, that quietly Purdy was assuming a much bigger part of their success. And if he continues to get even better, this offense becomes harder and harder to stop. And it was true. I mean, it brought them all the way to the Super Bowl. Like, they came up a couple plays short, but it remains the case, right? And you can look at it this year and say, well, they haven't had Christian McCaffrey, but Jordan Mason's been looking fantastic in his stead. They've been missing receivers, but Jennings has looked amazing as well. Like, the players that they have been missing that might have potentially derailed them in previous seasons haven't this year, because they've got really good players, and Brock Purdy continues to get better and better. So I'm kind of with you. I think absent having Brian Flores on staff, there really isn't a good way of stopping this offense. And the Cardinals don't have Brian Flores on staff. So, and they have, by the way, a pretty terrible defense from a personnel standpoint.
So I think they're better than the Cardinals, and they're going to win by a lot.
I don't see how the Cardinals stop this offense is my broader point in all this.
Yeah.
And then you get to the other side of the ball, and it comes back to the same story every week, which is unless Kyler Murray is going to play basically flawless football, they're not going to hang with San Francisco.
That's been the story so far. Kyler had probably the best quarterback's game of anybody all season in week 2 against the Rams. That was their win. He's been just okay outside of that. The defense has one of the worst pass rushes in the league. They're not great at stopping the run. Just don't think they have enough talent on the defensive side of the ball. For Arizona, I think you need the superhuman effort from Kyler Murray, from Marvin Harrison Jr. The O-line has been good. They can run the ball a little bit. Like, the offense is pretty good in Arizona, but they've got to be very, very good and try to win a shootout here against San Francisco. Over-under is 49.5, so Vegas is expecting some level of that, or the Niners dropping like 35 here, which I think is very possible. So we could cut that Purdy discussion. It's a good Purdy discussion. We cut that for social probably and do some damage in social world.
Right, and then obviously label it like Steve wants to. Brock Purdy is now transcendent.
Sam says Brock Purdy's transcendent. Steve merely says he's underrated. Mm-hmm. Brock Purdy from system QB to now he's underrated? Question mark? Is that what it is?
7.5 points for the 49ers.
Yep. Taking the Niners.
Same.
Harry is as well. Sorry, Cardinals.
Thanks for watching all the way to the end of our video.
For more great content, click here to subscribe and here to watch another video. We'll see you again soon.